So if you enjoyed this video, hit like, subscribe, and so that you get further insights on gold and silver and the future of this in our environment, what we can do to create wealth, to build a portfolio, for example. So do you have any thoughts about EV or its investments, for example? What questions do you feel that you want to understand about silver? Because what I want to say to you is that silver is going to be like the dark horse. Like I said, it's going to be like the tortoise that won the race. It's going to be like, the hare is gold, for example, and the tortoise is silver. And with gold, silver is like a magnet to it, so it's always going to follow it anyway. But there's other precious metals out there, and I'm going to be sharing with you a few of those, well, not a few, those precious metals, for example. But I also want to share with you the different mines around the world, for example, because you've looked and you're seeing that the silver and gold, that something's happening there, and people are rushing to get it so that they've got it in their hands for themselves, but also for the future as well. So you, for example, I'd love to hear your comments regarding silver. What do you think about silver? What do you think about those plants being set up in America, apparently, for example? So in terms of the electric vehicles, they are going to skyrocket and the battery productions will ramp up. The demand for silver, it's set to soar. It really is. And the future of electric cars, battery technology, is a must. So why not look at investing in silver for 2025 and beyond, for example? So I've discussed about the EV boom, for example, and the growing battery demand, and how the factories are now going to be opening up. I believe 10, according to the article that I read, and I also put the link here for you to see. But there is so many investment opportunities for silver, for example, buying silver coins or buying silver bars, or purchasing scrap gold, which is how I started, for example, and then you sell or you keep it for when you need to have it, for example. There are government policies on the electronic vehicle market, and there are new laws regarding it to shape a more cleaner transition. But like I said, I don't fully understand how it is more environmentally friendly than gas. So I still got to suss that one out, for example. So what I'd love for you to do, we do have our scrap gold, how to start your own gold business, for example. And we also provide one-to-one training on that. But I'm also going to be doing videos here daily, for example. So please stay tuned and subscribe, because at the end of the day, whether you've got a business or whether you're an individual, you still need to look at how you can invest. And I believe silver is the cheapest way to invest, and it's going to increase in value. So it will be something that's going to help you in, say, 5 years' time, 2030, for example, and then 2035, 10 years' time. It depends what you're saving for. So you've got to think about what it is that you're saving for, because that's going to give you the encouragement that you need, for example. So if you are saving, for example, to purchase a house, now I did that video about saving an amount of money for a house, for example. I talked about the 400,000 for the house that you're going to save for. Well, silver and gold can help you to do that, for example. So you've got to have a reason for why you're buying this gold and silver. And I certainly will say, during this economic difficult time, for example, I would definitely start buying gold and silver as soon as you can, because the value in the in the cash, for example, is devalued. So it's going down in value, for example, and you'll see that when you're purchasing things. So it's good to have money that is in gold and silver that will always be around, for example, and it will not go down in value. So it will always increase in value. But like I said, the EV batteries, electronic vehicle batteries, are going to be in big demand. They're going to need more silver. That's going to bring the silver prices up. And the reason why I'm doing the video about this today is to say about how silver is going to become the new gold, because of all of the things that silver does. For example, it is a dual purpose, something to wear, but also something that is valuable, for example, but also manufacturing, industrial use. Look, we're increasing with AI. That requires chips, and I don't mean to eat, I mean for the AI to operate, the robots, for example, that they're now starting to do. That takes silver. Just the same with solar panels, renewable energy. We got all these things that we have to think about, because the silver, like I said, it is going to be the new gold. It really is, because of the need for the manufacturing. For example, for Donald Trump to say is going to open up 10 plants in America, for electric vehicles, for example, that's quite a lot, isn't it? You'll see from the articles there that I've put the link in the description. Do read it when you get a chance, so that you can see as well for yourself where I'm getting this information from. But this is going to drive the silver up, and the silver is going to become, I believe so, it's going to become the new gold rush. So you want to buy it before the price gets really high. This is the time to do it. You start buying, even if you buy one coin a month at $35, for example, and save that every month. Because by the end of the year, imagine that $35 per ounce has now turned into, for example, $800 per ounce. You're getting a very big return on investment with silver. And like I said, they're on this thing to get this done as quickly as possible. It's like they're all racing one another to build these electric vehicles, and that's going to drive the price up for silver. It's all around the world. It's not just America, it's not just the UK, it's all around the world. Everybody is doing it. Look, India, they just got that big workload to do for the electronic vehicles. So imagine what the price is going to be, because they're on this race that by 2030 that we have got to be using electric vehicles, for example. So the race is on to have these electric vehicles. But these electric vehicles are going to require silver. And I explained at the beginning of the video the amount of silver it takes, which is quite a lot per car. And the silver worldwide available, as far as we know, is being depleted, but there's only 20 more years supply. However, this is 2024, so the silver demand is outweighing the actual amount that is available. So that's going to create a problem. So that's why they need to start looking for where this silver is, where these new mines are, these discoveries. They've got to start going out doing discoveries to try and find silver, for example. And then you've got all of these other aspects that it's needed for, not just the electronic vehicles, it's needed for technology, it's needed for AI, it's needed for, you know, the chips that they've got, for example, to operate the robots, for example. I can't believe I'm actually saying the word robots. I never imagined that, you know, that we would be in this time and place that we're actually talking about robots in a real way, not something that we see on TV or Star Wars, something that they're doing now, and it's being introduced into healthcare now. It's being introduced everywhere. But like I said, you can imagine, because it's not gold that they need for that, it's silver. So why do you think that silver has now become the new gold rush before it runs out? Everyone's racing to make these things, for example, to supposedly make our lives better. That's what they are saying, for example. But what I really want to also say to you is that, is it really making our lives better? We will find out. We probably won't know until 10 years from now what it truly means. But there's one thing that we can do, and that is to start buying silver, start buying gold, because that is the new monetary system. The cash is getting weaker and weaker, but gold and silver is getting stronger and stronger.